Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. Guys, let's have a look straight into the charts today because I want to get a few done this evening, and I want to give you a heads up of my positional taking, things that I'm looking to do in the market right now. So obviously we did a very interesting live event last night, which then cut off because my mobile internet ran out. But we're not going to do that tonight, but hopefully some of you enjoyed that. So guys, MTV right now, of course, the whole entire market is an absolute disaster right now. Does that mean we stop? No, it does not. What it does mean for me personally is the opportunity to obtain something that I complained about when it was all up here, and I didn't get enough of it. And if you remember, when we first did our MTV videos, I think it's around August time. So I think I was buying, I have to double check, I'm pretty sure I was buying MTV around this sort of 1.5 cent mark, which I considered relatively late, and that kind of was quite true actually, because we managed to get to around 3 cents, so still around a double position to where I was buying from. But I was kind of really annoyed. I was still buying MTV in these dips here, not really knowing what was going on with MTV, whether we're going like super high or if what's going to happen. So of course the whole market has followed this kind of trend. Now for me personally, I'm actually really excited about this drop here because it, as I said, it's allowed me to get something really early, in my opinion, back to these early prices. Not as low, of course, where March and April time, where I know some YouTubers were talking about it way before it was even 1 cent, and that's brilliant. I knew about it even in these tallies up and everything, but I didn't do anything until around August time, just because I had a big portfolio already, and I wanted to do MTV properly. So accumulated around this area and this area, and I think I did a bit of sell off at the top, but then not too much, but I'd wait for it to come down. And we know in the previous videos that we did, a week or so ago, I was buying this dip on average all the way down, took the price up. I don't really trade on those kind of moves at the moment, but I did anticipate that this would drop back down again to retest. Now, what's really interesting for MTV right now, as we talked about in the previous videos, we're testing these kind of areas that we haven't seen really since June. I forget, obviously, beginning of January 11th, but I'm talking about back here, 24th, 23rd of June, and these really interesting touch points as well here, where we saw a bit of a bounce off up and down to determine whether we were getting support or resistance. And in this instance, we very much couldn't get support at this level where we're pretty much currently sitting right now. And you can see it now. So this red mark here is indicating the existing current price, 0.0063. Look at that all the way across here. It's exactly what I'm talking about. It's really testing this area now to see if we can support this mechanism here. So a couple of other things to take on board with this. We've obviously got Bitcoin itself absolutely playing with us the last few weeks, and of course that dictates the market in general. Currently, as you see on the right hand side, floating around $34.8 thousand dollars. Now, in my mind, I knew we were going to come down to maybe 37,000 in terms of Bitcoin, and we obviously shot straight down. Now, the next market down for Bitcoin, in my opinion, was around sort of 32,000, between 32 and 30. So it didn't quite do that today. We managed to scale ourselves back to near enough $35,000, right? So that means that right now the whole market is kind of stabilized itself. It's come back to test here. I was a bit fearful in the sense, I wouldn't say fearful because I love the drops, but I was sort of anticipating when we got to back down to this level earlier today. I mean, the low here, 0.0060. Look at that. What we had the other day just dipped slightly under that 0.006 mark here. So it's stabilized so far. If Bitcoin starts dragging itself back down to maybe like 32, that's when I think the rest of the market will just lose confidence and will start dragging back down. That is why I personally have just put a buy order in around 5.5 cents. I'm not saying that that's definitely going to happen, but I'm certainly preparing for the opportunity to try and grab that. I know it sounds a bit silly to try and save that 0.5%, but I've been, like I said, I've been buying MTV on this averaging down here, and I have been doing so on the last 2 or 3 days of MTV as well in the last few days. So this is where I sort of consider an opportunity to grab something if it does dip down further, to test and pull itself back up, because we might get some waved movement around this bottom fib retracement line here that we got down here under this little grey line. Could it come back down to 0.003? That would be chaotic, I think, and maybe signaling things even worse than a bear market. But that's where I am right now. I'm putting that order in. If it doesn't come down to there, absolutely fine. I will be certainly, even if it starts tailing back up, I'll probably definitely be accumulating around these areas. Anything under a cent is, in my opinion, absolute steal for MTV. I wouldn't be surprised. We start hopefully tailing this back up as time goes by over the next few weeks. I think it's going to be quite a long recovery. People were asking in the live chat last night, all-time highs, when can we get back to these areas? Well, if you're following the traditional wave patterns of the market, yes, obviously we're in a bear mode. We have been arguably since these markers here in November, December, and that's across multiple markets. But I will reiterate what I said yesterday. Usually in a correctional period, in a bear momentum, you get up to 70% of a correction. So in this instance here, if I just take that top marker there, we've actually hit 80%, which is quite formidable really, but still very much in line with what we were suggesting around this sort of like 3-month cycle. So really interesting stuff. I feel like we're bottoming out. Let us know what you think in the comments below. But either way, MTV Multivac is a phenomenal project. We know what's happened at the very last day of December with the announcement of Sean leaving his post as CEO. And we're expecting a roadmap soon for MTV for this year. If you believe in the project, its fundamentals of scalability and everything like that, you shouldn't be too concerned. I mean, the price is the price. For me, it's about the longevity of this project, where it's going, and I am absolutely loving this price right now. Of course, I want to see profits eventually, but at the moment, I'm sort of sat there thinking, well, hang on a minute, I could probably really take advantage even more of this area. It's come back down again to this crazy area of 0.5% nearly. So that's what I'm doing. Look at these indicators on the right hand side here. 38% down on the week. It's not looking very positive at all, is it? 41% down on the month and 70% on the 3 months. I don't know why it says 70 there, but when I calculated just then it was 80. But anyway, I'll take that 70. It's very much still in the principle of what we're talking about. But look at that on the year. A year, 2,000% up still. And people are going crazy. Like, this is horrible what we're seeing right now. I couldn't think, if I was told a year ago when I was buying that I would be 2,000% up even after a correction, then wow, I would absolutely snap your hand off for sure. So that's where we are, guys. I would love to see a tail back up, or certainly a nice equation of a nice transition of moving ourselves back up. Let's just have a quick look at some RSI movements and the MACDs down here. So what have we got? Well, first of all, this is where I was talking about just a minute ago, about the opportunity of if Bitcoin brings us back down a bit further in the whole market, we might see some opportunities to try and potentially grab that 5.5 mark or so. But this could be a very quick turnaround over maybe a 2-3 day period. So far, the volume is low. It's very similar to what we saw early January. But in my opinion, what's really positive, yes, we had the tail off on the 31st of December and downwards in a downward pattern because of the CEO announcement. But when the information started coming out of the AMAs and the roadmap potentially coming out end of January or beginning of February or something, confidence started building in. So this wave didn't last long. I don't anticipate this wave to last long either. It should be quite a short one, hopefully. And I think we'll start seeing some really positive movements back upwards for MTV. But if you look at this, the RSI is back here on the 10th of January being quite low. 28 on the 14 day, 36 on the 28 day. These are beautiful sweet spots for me personally of buying. And that's why I was doing average buying on the way down. We took some movements up to relatively middle ground, really, what I call the limbo area of like 50 odd. This would have been in good profit taking if you were purchasing down at these areas, and obviously taking profits, which is obviously some people have done, and then the leverages have kicked in across markets and pulled everything down again. But what I'm suggesting here is, in these areas, it's not financial advice, but there is quite clearly opportunities for people to get these dips and make short-term profits, and actually even potentially take out their initial investments that they put in down at these lower areas. Because look at that, from that dip down to upwards was near enough 100% gain. Absolutely crazy. It's not until you start drawing these things in that you actually really realize like the actual impact that this has had. So very interesting stuff in my opinion. And like I said, in this area of this like craziness that goes on, opportunities always arise. There's opportunity for me to get some crazy low prices, but also if this happens again and we start having a tail up, I for sure am taking profits that I accumulated from here and here, bolstering out what I've probably invested in. So then it doesn't really matter too much, because if it comes down, I've got the money capital that I've taken from the profits to put back in. Or if it goes on a wonderful tangent upwards, then that's happy days as well. So really interesting kind of partial win-win situations from that. But the RSIs at the moment are quite low again, but very much kind of obviously higher, slightly higher than they were on back here on the 9th and 10th. So it's looking, actually, it looks horrible on the chart, but it's actually looking quite positive in the sense that it is supporting this area. But we'll have to see what Bitcoin does over the next few days, and that will obviously reflect how the rest of the market goes. But I'm holding tight. I'm not going anywhere. I believe in MTV, and I'm just thinking, wow, all right, how much more MTV can I accumulate in this period of time at these very low prices? I have got my USDT ready for lower regions as well. Like I said, not anticipating that will definitely happen, but you can never be too sure, and it's always good to prepare both on the upside and the downside. So guys, let us know in the comments below what you're doing with MTV right now. Have you been selling it? Have you been buying it? I want to know. I don't need to know exact numbers, how much you've been ordering, but I'm certainly interested to know what's the psychology around at the moment. What are you doing with your MTV? So guys, we've got loads of videos to get through. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Please do make sure that if you have not done so already, that you smash that like button, and make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. But until the next MTV video, guys, thanks for watching, and we will hopefully indeed see you in the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.